Song of Solomon. The big thing about Song of Solomon is for 200 years in this country, people have thought that it is a metaphorical poem about Jesus Christ and His church. Nonsense. The Song of Solomon is wisdom literature. It's one of the 5 books of the wisdom literature. It means it is the mind of God. It is how God would prefer things. It is how God thinks. It is how God likes things done. This is why we call it the wisdom literature. Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon. These are the books of wisdom, is what we call it. Not man's wisdom, God's wisdom. Now, you say, well, why would he include a book about sex and marriage and relationships? Well, probably because he created us both male and female from the beginning. He tells us about everything else he wants, desires, and demands. Why would he not cover probably the most influential aspect of our being, which is our sexuality? Nothing determines our course of action or our behavior more than our sexuality. If you don't believe it, every morning when you wake up and look in the mirror, what do you say? You go, ah! If you're a woman, you say, I look terrible. If you're a man, you say, not bad. It is our sexuality that drives us to buy the L'Oreal. Why, Tammy? Because we're worth it. Yes, we are. We spend billions and hundreds of billions of dollars on breath mints, toothpaste, hair color, underarm deodorant, and we're not even going to get into the feminine hygiene sprays. All an attempt to be what? That perfect woman or that handsome man. And does it get us any further down the road? Well, not really. Psychologically, yes. Physically, probably not so much. We are, whether we like it or not, male and female. And we are male and female only because God desires us to be male and female. He could have simply made us all the same if He wanted and had the whole reproductive thing go another way. But He decidedly chose us to be male and female. It is, without question, in my mind, professionally and personally, the most single important or impacting determinant of our lives. A billion things I do because I'm male. Not any other reason. Not because I'm smart, not because I'm talented. I mean, those play in here and there, but a lot of things I do because I am male. Women like to look pretty, men like to watch football and make rude noises with their bodies. Why? Because we can. That's part of being male. I'm sorry, but it determines who we are, how we behave, how we act, what we consider important. It determines what things we value. Men value football. Women value a buy one, get one free sale somewhere. I mean, I could care less. I can drive right past that buy one, get one free. But if it's a college football game, I got to stop and watch it. You see? Why? I don't know, because I'm male, I guess. So, having said all that, the point I'm trying to make is, why would God leave us uneducated as to the single most determining characteristic of our being? He wouldn't. He would give us His wisdom on it. Boom, Song of Solomon. Is it a metaphor between Jesus Christ and His church? No. I don't think it is in any way, shape, or form. First of all, it was written 1,000 years before Jesus would come. So it would have been wasted for an entire millennia on people going, well, what's the Jesus Christ in His church? Was it a letter to tell us God's preference as to relationships? Probably. So, I want you to think in those terms. As we read this book, and we're going to start today with chapter 1, I want you to think in terms of, this is how, if you ask God, how should I run my marriage? How should I be a female? How should I be a male? What do I bring to the table? And once we get to the table, how should we, share or spread or whatever? This is God's answer to you, saying, if I were you, this is what I would do. We're going to focus on three things. There are going to be three characters in this play, if you will, in this poem, in this drama. There's going to be the woman, or what they're going to call the bride. Traditional pink, because I'm a male. There's going to be the groom. Oh my, look at that. Blue, because I'm a male. And then there are going to be the friends, or the chorus. The friends are an outside, external, third party by which the poetry moves along, particularly when it gets to a tough point or a questionable point. When he says, well, I don't know what to do, what should I do? Then the friends chime in with their, 3 cents worth, so to speak. But there's also going to be, he's not going to be direct, it's going to be implied. Nowhere in the Song of Solomon is God really outright mentioned. But it is going to be implied, well, this is how God would do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we're going to focus on three directions, if you will, or movements of the action. The woman's movement will be in pink. Why? Because I'm a male. The men's movements are going to be in blue. Do you know why? Because I'm a male. And when we do it God's way, we're going to meet on the green, so to speak. When we're not doing it God's way, we won't meet on the green. When we get into a problem or trouble, then the friends will chime in, or your Bible might say the chorus or whatever, being that it's Hebraic poetry. I need a better blue. This blue is kind of pale. He's not much of a man. There you go. There's a man right there. Okay. All right? So I want you to think in these terms. Oftentimes, as in the case of life, and throughout the Scriptures, you can go all the way back to Genesis, and God says, I want you to do this, 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 and this. And the people that have been charged with that, they get frustrated, and they say, well, I'm going to do it my way. And they do, right? Oftentimes throughout Scripture, God then shows up and says, what have you done? Go all the way back to Adam and Eve. I don't want you to eat no apples. Hey, stay out of the salad bar. And what does Eve do? She's walking by the apple tree, sees it, goes, I won't have a bite of that. And then that snaky fellow shows up and says, go ahead. And then she says, no, God said don't. Oh, God doesn't care. I mean, one apple's as good as another. Take it. And what does Eve do? I'm going to do it my way. And she goes over and eats it, and Lord have mercy, we hadn't had any peace since. Screwed it up. Proves only two things. Women don't know how to keep their mouth shut, and they don't know a line when they hear it. Of course, men are just as stupid because she handed it to him, and he said what? He hated to. So, the point is, from the beginning, man likes to do stuff his way. And often it leads to disaster. Well, if that's true, what do you think is going to happen if the man and the woman do it their way in terms of relationship? Probably not going to work out too well. So this book is going to show you how God would prefer things to be done. And if you would dare chance to follow some of that, you might find yourself on a rather pleasing end, or a successful investment of time, energy, and self. All right? Let's look at chapter 1. Starts off with the bride making a statement. There is a tagline or a lead line that says, the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. By the way, the Song of Songs means this is the best of the best, is what that literally translates to be. There is no finer wisdom, grace, or knowledge than what this I'm going to give you here. So when you see that, why does it repeat? The Song of Songs, that's what it means. The best of the best. There is no greater knowledge about this male-female relationship on earth than this. So it might bear at least couple of weeks of your time to find out what it says. That's the tagline. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon. Remember, God made Solomon the wisest of all people on the earth. Why would he not use them to get his point across, okay? Now the bride starts off, "May he kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. For your love is better than wine. Your oils have a pleasing fragrance. Your name is like purified oil." Ooh, 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 ooh. "Therefore all the maidens love you. Oh, draw me after you and let us run together. And let the king bring me into his chambers." Now the friends chime in, the chorus. "We will rejoice in you and be glad, and we will extol your love more than fine wine. Rightly will they love you." And the bride comes back and says, "I am black but lovely, O daughters of Jerusalem. Like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Please do not stare at me because I am swarthy, for the sun has burned me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me caretaker of the vineyard, but I have not taken care of my own vineyard. Tell me, O you whom my soul loves, where is it that you pasture your flocks? Where do you make it lie down at the noon? For why should I be like one who veils herself beside the flocks of your companions?" Now the groom chimes in. If you yourself do not know my most beautiful amongst women, go forth to the trail of the flocks and pasture your goats by the tents of your shepherds. For to me, my darling, you are like my mare amongst the chariots of Pharaoh. Your cheeks are lovely with ornaments, and your neck with strings of beads. Then the friends chime in again. "We will make for you ornaments of gold and beads of silver." Then the bride speaks up. "While the king is at his table, let my perfume give forth its fragrance. For my beloved is to me like a pouch of myrrh, which lies all night between my breasts. My beloved is to me a cluster of henna," very sweet, "henna blossoms in the vineyard of En-Gedi." And the groom answers, "How beautiful you are, my darling. Oh, how beautiful you are. Your eyes are like doves." And she answers, "How handsome you are, my beloved, and so pleasant. Indeed, our couch is luxuriant. The beams of our house are like cedars, and our rafters are cypresses." Y'all talk to each other that way at night? Yeah, I hear it. Your eyes are like doves. Your butt's the size of Seattle. That's not quite the same. Stop it, Thomas. What do you feel from this first chapter? What do you think's happening? You got a young girl dreaming, don't you? Remember when you were young and before you went out with your first boy and you went to school, maybe a high school. Nowadays it's elementary school, but in my day, back in the 50s and 60s, high school before you even noticed what a girl was. But eventually you do, and the girls start noticing the boys, and they're kind of daydreaming or whatever, and they're writing in their books, and they're saying, "Oh gosh, he's the captain of the football team. He's such a hunk." Oh. And you're writing your name, how would I look? Tammy, Lance, Johnson or whatever, and you're writing your first name and his last name in your dream. You haven't even met the guy yet, but already, that's exactly what's happening here. That's exactly what's happening here. It's a girl dreaming about running with the king, being his bride, being his ta-dong. And the chorus is answering and chiming in saying, "Oh man, you're worth it. We'll ornate you. We'll make you beautiful. We'll get you up there. We'll make you top shelf stuff so that when he sees you, he's going to be yours." So she's got good friends and good support here. They're all behind her, and she's dreaming and she's going after it. If you start off, "May he kiss me with the kisses of his mouth." Fact of the matter is, that's the first line in the poem, but she hadn't even met him yet. But she's dreaming about it. Oh man, would I like to run with this guy. Oh, your love is gorgeous. Your oil is a pleasing fragrance. Your name is like purified oil. Therefore, that's why all the girls love you. All the maidens love you. Draw me after you. Let us run together. Let the king bring me into his chambers. She's wanting that first job. She's wanting to be with him. Her desire, her sexuality is driving her from within towards behavior without. Do you understand? That's one of the most important things of our existence is our own sexuality. It's not to be denied, but it certainly is to be controlled. A little thing we adults like to call self-control. But yet, probably the fact of the matter is, when all this starts coming on, how old are we? Well, in our day, it used to be like 15, 16, 18. Nowadays, it's like 7. But it used to be, you got all these feelings, you're running amok with emotion, and you're not really sure what to do with it. And here you are writing your name, Tammy Rutherfordson. And you haven't even met the guy yet. But you're trying it out, you see. Carol Sassard. What kind of stupid name is that? I don't want. I'm teasing. Anyway, you're trying it out. You're putting it on. He doesn't know that, but you know that, right? So here you are, this bride. She's dreaming hard. She's dreaming heavy. And she is really coming down and focusing on what? Him. He's the target. He's the dreamboat. He's everything. Captain of the football team. He's just, her sexuality is getting her to focus on him. He is the desired target. This is what we're going after, the intel, so to speak. And the friends, well, what do? They are right. I shouldn't use green. I need another color for friends. We'll make friends orange. The friends are right alongside supporting her 2 times. We will rejoice with you. We will encourage you. We will support you. We will make beads and ornaments for you so that you're as pretty as you. Oh, I got a dress you just got to try on and a lipstick. Get rid of that brown stuff. This hot red will make you just look as cheap as you need to look. I shouldn't say that. But this video should not go online. But the friends are very supportive. Now, folks, you got to be careful because the friends can determine everything. Let's say, Tammy, you shouldn't have sat in the front row. We've talked about this. Let's say Tammy sees Dimitri. Oh, he's a nice young pastor. I want to go out with him. He's all squishy. And they finally meet, and you guys decide to go out, right? You go out, and you go whatever you do, go-karting or movieing and dining and all that. And yeah. Anyway, you go out for a few hours, you have a great night, and you come home, and Dimitri drops you off, and he's a perfect gentleman. He gets back in his Ford, Pinto. And he drives away, and you go in the house, and your 6 sisters are there waiting for you. And they start in. Oh, I can't believe you went out with that nerd. Crying out loud, he's got hair that long, he looks like a porcupine head, and he drives a Pinto, for crying out loud. And they rip into you over and over again about all his short or perceived shortcomings. What are the chances you're going to go out with him again? Probably not so good. Why? Well, because they're my sisters, or my friends, my girlfriends. There's nothing wrong with him. There's nothing wrong with a Pinto. At least not this week. The fact of the matter is, he's a fine young man. It was a great date. You had a good time. But you see, those friends are telling you, those sisters are telling you, those external influences are saying, Tammy, you don't want to date this guy. You need to go over here for Chuck. Chuck's hair is even shorter. And he drives a Chevy Vega. And immediately those great daydreams are directed from your original heartfelt want to another. He doesn't understand why. He gets the short end of the stick, and a decision was made, really, that wasn't your decision. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't your decision. So you need to be careful how, in this case, they are encouraging her. But is this the right decision? There's the key. See, your true friends know. Your jump on the bandwagon friends, they'll always say, oh yeah, I'll support whatever you do. What if whatever you're going to do is not a good idea? But on the other hand, what if it is a good idea and they're saying, don't do it, run away. Be careful, especially when it comes to this thing that we call sexuality. Because you're not just making determining decisions for your life, you're going to affect another's life. You really don't have the right to do that. See, we take a lot of liberties when we say, I want to go out with her, or I want to go out with him. And it gets even more serious when you start talking about physical interaction and marital interaction and reproduction. Now you're affecting a whole bunch of lives. Be careful. What we have here is a girl daydreaming, writing his last name up behind her first name. This is serious stuff starting to go down. And the sad part is, in most cases, it's being done by teenagers and even younger who lack the rational ability to control it. And it's surrounded by friends who are also teenagers who lack the rational ability to make wise decisions. You see what I'm talking about? And we wonder why relationships are so screwed up. You got everything working against you right from the get-go. And God tells us this. Be careful. What you are as a male or a female is determining more about you than you have any idea. Any idea. It's 108 in my backyard, and Carol will put on a sweater because she's cold. Why? Because she's female. And crazy. I'm sitting there in a pair of shorts and nothing else. I'm going, are you kidding me? I can't breathe out here. It's so hot. And she wants a sweater. Why? I don't know, but I think it's got something to do with metabolism, which has something to do with who we are as gender, sexuality. Let's go on. So when she starts to seriously consider this guy, oh, I would love to run with him. And she finally gets to the first date, so to speak. You know, you're walking down the hall. You guys are fun to pick on. You're right here in the front row. You're walking down the hall, high school, and she's walking down the hall, and she drops all her books purposely. And you bow to help her. Oh my goodness. You're reading Dora the Explorer. Good book. I've read that twice. And the first meet takes place. And you say, wow, what's your name? And you say, Tammy. And he says, my Tammy, you are quite a beautiful young woman. And you say what? Oh no, my hair's a mess, my bra is slipping and my panties just fell down and you know, I got these old shoes and I got a rash. Right? Kind of a self-debasement. Why do we do this? We always do it. Oh, I just came from, my head hurts and my teeth are hanging out and I'm not going to tell you about. We do that, don't we? Have you ever done that? Debased yourself? Even in front of the person that... Yes, you have. We all do it. Why do we focus on our impurities, our imperfections? It's kind of like some kind of, oh, give me mercy, love. I'm a victim because I'm just... She does the same thing. Look what what she does. She focuses not on her beauty or her strength or anything. She says, don't stare at me because I'm swarthy. Now, I don't know what swarthy means. I'm thinking leathery, sunburned, kind of dried out elephant type skin. For the sun has burned me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me take care of the vineyards, but I've not taken care of my own vineyard. In other words, she's let herself go, so to speak. And then she asked, tell me, oh, you who my soul loves, where do you hang out, so to speak? Where do you pasture your flocks? Where do you spend your time? Then I might go there and we can meet and be together and spend time together. Then the groom says, well, if you do not know, O most beautiful amongst women. See, she's sitting there saying, oh, I'm not all that. I'm not real pretty. I'm not real cute. I'm not real, right? And what does he say? Are you nuts? Look at yourself. You're gorgeous. You don't believe that? Go pasture your flocks next to the other shepherds. In other words, go take a walk past the construction site and see what they say. All the guys up there are going to be going, hey, mama, come here. Yeah, coochie, woman. Come here, man. If you don't know how gorgeous you are, go walk past the construction site and you will have no question by the time you come out of there. That's basically what he's saying. Go walk past the other shepherds where they pasture their flock and see what they say. Wow. What is that? That's him coming back, ain't it? In a real positive way. She's coming down negative on herself, saying, oh, I'm nothing, I'm nasty. A little while ago she was saying, I want to be all that. But when she gets the opportunity, what happens? She says, oh, don't look at me, I'm nasty, my hair's a mess, my eyelashes are falling off, my lipstick, I shouldn't have worn this old brown stuff. Should have worn that red stuff that made me look young and hot. She's making excuses for the way she looks. She's not worthy. She's not anything. And he says, what? Yeah, you are. You really are beautiful. You're a pretty, gorgeous woman. And if you don't know that, go walk past the construction site and see what those guys have to say about you. Well, that, in a weird kind of way, that's a nice compliment. You are beautiful, oh, most beautiful amongst women. If you don't know this, take a poll, take a survey, go walk past these other guys, and they'll all tell you that you're gorgeous and you're beautiful. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you something. What woman would not want to hear that? Here she's dreaming of the captain of the football team. Here she's dreaming of the most popular guy in school. Here she finally gets an opportunity to meet him. And of course she does what we all do. Oh, I'm terrible. Don't look at me. And he could have said, you're a nut. And walked away. He instead lifts her gently, carefully with his compliment saying, oh no, you're quite the opposite. You're gorgeous. And if you don't know that, gosh, go walk past the practice field where the guys are playing. They'll all be whistling at you. Which is in a sense saying, I would be honored to be with you. Now, what woman wouldn't want that to happen? How many of you guys have done that to your wife? Oh yeah, trying to look good. When they ask, do these pants make me look fat? What do you say? It's not the pants.
Can I say something?
No. At your own risk, yeah, go ahead.
I think women need to hear that because in some ways they are insecure about themselves.
We all are.
They need to hear it.
We all are.
Especially women.
Well, it's not that men aren't. It's just that men are more indifferent towards it. I don't really care. You know? Whereas to women, be it a gender thing again, from the dawn of creation, we've made women feel as though they need to look good. And they have made themselves feel as though they need to look good. And it is a competition, you know. There's 2.89 women out there for every guy on the planet. There's more women than men. The reason is partly because we kill men off in wars and all that stuff all the time. So over the eons, women have populated the earth more than men have. And that's a known biological, numerical fact. I've got another 1.89 women out there with my name on them. I have to explain this to Carol, but the fact of the matter is there's more women than men. So what do you got to do? Well, you start working on making the first string, right? I'm younger, I'm slimmer, I'm hotter, I'm wearing a cheap red lipstick. Why would you do that? To beat out the other broads that are lined up trying to get the captain of the football team. That's what we do. But then when we get the chance, the funniest thing is we say, oh, don't look at me, I'm ugly. What was that movie? Oh, Seinfeld. When Kramer got himself sunburned real bad. Don't look at me, I'm hideous. That's pretty funny, but we do it all the time. And then, much to our surprise, a rose blooms in the desert. And this guy gently picks her up and says, oh, no, you're not. No, anything but. You're gorgeous. Gentlemen, how many times do we do that for our women? I would venture to say, if you're honest, not so much. And yet it's important. It's important. Words are important. Especially words that are not for our own benefits, but to build another. This, folks, is what we call edification in the New Testament. When we gather in the house of the Lord for the purpose of prayers and songs and proclamation and edification of one another. I can lift you higher than an airplane can with a few kind, gentle, and well-chosen words. I can turn your day around. Sometimes you can turn lives around with a few kind, well-chosen words. Look at what's happening. Let's go on. To me, my darling, you are like my mare amongst the chariots of Pharaoh. Your cheeks are lovely as ornaments, and your neck as with strings of beads. Mare amongst the Pharaoh's chariots. That was a prized thing in those days. Remember Ben-Hur and the Pharaoh and the chariot race and all that? That was well known throughout the world. The mares of Pharaoh and his great racing teams. And he is likening her unto one of those fine, prime, perfect specimens. Lovely with beads and strings and ornaments. This is quite the player. Point is, he's coming on. We're going to give him a little bit more here. He's coming back strong. Not for him, for her. You are all that in a big bag of chips. Wow. Now watch what happens. The friends chime in, and what do they say? We're going to make you gorgeous. They said, again, we're going to make you gorgeous. We're going to make you gorgeous. We will string your neck with beads. We will string your cheeks with ornaments. We will make you all that. You can borrow my dress. You can borrow my lipstick. You can borrow my jewelry. Let me do your hair. We're going to make you gorgeous. So again, the second time, the friends are right there, coming back, saying, we are going to make this guy think you're the seventh or eighth wonder of the world. Now, fortunately for her, they are positive to this. They like the idea of she and this would-be captain of a football team running together. You understand? As opposed to if they all said, oh man, he's a loser. What do you want to hang around with him for? So she's got some pretty decent friends here. At least it seems that she does. And is she listening to him? Oh, most definitely. As we all do. Are we out of time?
No.
Okay.
2012.
Then she answers. Now it is where it gets dangerous. Pay attention. Sexuality, determining behavior. Sexuality, determining value. Sexuality, determining course of action. And destiny of lives. Oh, Tom, you're overdoing it. Am I? It's never more poignant than when you're dealing with a man and a woman falling in love, supposedly. It's not all romance. Sometimes it's more intricate than a game of chess. Positioning. Listen to what she says. After the friends say, oh, we'll make you gorgeous. You'll be the best looking, hottest coochie mama out there. He'll be singing you a country song. My eyes are the only thing I don't want to take off of you. Ever heard that? So, never mind. You guys really need to listen to more country music. While the king is at his table, let my perfume give forth its fragrance. That's that canal number 5. She's wafting it out there. My beloved to me, listen to this. Listen to the power of this language. My beloved. Now he is her beloved. They only met once. My beloved to me is like a pouch of myrrh. Myrrh, very fine, exotic ointment. Very beautiful. Remember, they brought myrrh to Jesus when he was born. And sometimes myrrh is used in the embalming of the dead. So it's kind of like saying, my love for him is stronger than death itself. You could interpret it that way. Wow! They only met once. They went out on one date. They rode around the Pinto. And already Tammy's just going, ah. You mention the name Dimitri and she floats down, melts on the floor. She's just a blob with 2 little eyeballs sticking out. That's love. Well, I don't know. Listen to what she says. My beloved to me is like a pouch of myrrh. Oh, it gets better. Which lies all night between my breasts. One date? And you've got him between your snack basket there? No way. You laugh, but how many teenagers in school are doing just this? How many teenagers, people without even the rationale to handle these kinds of emotions, are directing their lives, deciding their destinies by virtue of the fact that they're male or female and horny? My beloved to me is like a pouch of fine myrrh lying all night between my breasts. Wow. Like a cluster of henna blossoms. Very lovely, very fragrant, very gorgeous. Like in the vineyards of En-Gedi, which was a very lush, palatial place. Now the groom answers, oh, how beautiful you are, my darling, how beautiful you are. Your eyes are like doves. So she's already got him lying between her breasts saying, I can't wait to jump on this man. Yes, sir. And he's saying, you're a nice girl. This is a first date, people. They ain't even got out of the Pinto yet. And she's ready to drop them. Or at least working herself up to it. She's in a fine lather. He says, you're a beautiful lady, without question. You're a nice girl. Your eyes are like doves. You're gentle, you're kind, you're sweet, you're good. I don't know that he's saying you're like a pouch of myrrh that I'm dropping in my drawers. But she is. She's already thinking, wow, I got to get while the getting's good. Coach, put me in. She answers after he says, you're a nice girl, you're beautiful, your eyes are like doves, you're really something. Listen to how she ends it, this chapter. How handsome you are, my beloved, and so pleasant. Watch out. Our couch is luxuriant, our beams are like houses of cedar, our rafters like cypress. Do you have any idea what that means? The couch was the first initial resting, relaxing meeting place. Oh, our first date was so fabulous. Right? Wait a minute. Hold up. Let me get my pink all colored here. Oh, wait. That needs to be turned around going the other way. Channer screwed up. All right. I too am mortal. Uh-oh, the pink won't come off. Bummer. See, this is the danger of it, guys. Run away, run away.
Now we know. The spray cleaner works really good now. That pink will come off.
There you go. The couch is luxuriant. The walls are like, what are they? Like cypress? Yeah, the beams of our house are like cedars, and the rafters like cypress. Cypress, of course, never rots. Cedars are strong, huge, like the cedars of Lebanon. Big, strong, like the redwoods of California. Huge, strong, everything. What has she got?
She's already boxed him in.
She's got him lock, stock, and barrel. She's got him married. She's got him married forever with strong cedars and rafters of cypress which will never rot. Cypress is immune to any kind of fungus or anything. It's the most enduring wood ever. She's got him lock, stock, barrel, boxed, signed, sealed, delivered, bona fide, purified, homogenized.
Dead to rights.
It was one date in a Pinto. Yeah, game over. She's ready to drop trowel. She's ready to take off her clothes. She's ready to marry this guy. It was one date. Now tell me that gender and sexuality does not influence decision. Tell me that we're all equal. Man and woman will never be equal, ever. They weren't designed that way. The very DNA in our tiniest cells screams differences. How do we control them? As you look at this first chapter map, what do you see? What stands out? First of all, God's not really involved much here, is He? That should scream to you. Nobody bothered to consult maybe how the Lord would do it. It is directed one to another. The second thing that should scream out to you is an incredible imbalance. What's happening here? He helped her pick up her books and say, yeah, you're pretty hot. Wow, I haven't seen you around yet. And you go, oh no, I'm nasty, I'm ugly. Oh no, you're really not. All the guys are talking about you on the football team, really. And he says, yes, you are really gorgeous, no problem. You got sweet eyes and you're a nice, good looking lady and all that. Had a great time, first date, wonderful. He's kind of controlled, but look at her. I mean, just look at the intensity. Not only her, but the friends supporting, and is it any wonder she's here now? For the first time in her life, maybe, she's been made to feel beautiful. She's looking at this guy as the Prince Charming on the white stallion, the white knight, running to her rescue of an otherwise pathetic and uneventful life. How do you expect she's going to respond? See, and wise high school boys know this. And they'll say anything and do anything to get up to this point, even if it means going to church. Do you know, when I was in Kentucky 100 years ago studying up there, I didn't have to go, but I went to these old Kentucky tent meetings. You ever been to those things? Man, I don't even know if they still have them, but they find an old empty field out in the middle of nowhere in between two giant mountains. And some guy will set up, preacher, Reverend Bishop Jollybo Billy or somebody like that. He'll set up tents and everything, and they'll hang lanterns out there, and you got them moths whipping around them. And it's in the middle of the summer, and it's always hot, and you're just sweating. And this guy's out there preaching, and he'll have 300 people under that tent for hours. They'll start at 6 in the evening. They won't get done until midnight. But 90% of the people under that tent are women. Are girls. Where are the men, you say? Well, the men are all surrounding them. They are. In their trucks, in their cars. Sitting out there smoking, drinking some moonshine and all that. Because they know once that preacher's done with them women, they're going to be so whooped up, that's going to be easy. And I said, you're kidding me. Well, I went with Dr. Coppage to 2 of these things. All the men were out there. All the women were throwing themselves at the Lord. Those men weren't concerned about the Lord. Those men were concerned about being a pouch of myrrh between your yo-hos. That's what they were concerned about. Young men know this, or they learn it quickly, usually from older men. And you say what you've got to say, and you do what you've got to do in order to get to the big time. You see how dangerous this is? What kind of devastating results would it have been if he said, hey, let's do it, right there in the back of the Pinto. And then he never saw her again, or never called her the day after, or never. She would not only be back to where she was, but worse. Now she's been used and made fun of and degraded to the point of why bother. Generally, resentment sets in, bitterness, anger. A general loathing of self, of men, of certainly that man. Maybe even of God. 99.99%. I'm going to step out on a limb here. 100% of the time when we choose to do things ourselves, as opposed to consult or listen to the Lord, it doesn't end well. Even if it ends well, it's not as good as it probably could have been had we considered God's way of doing stuff. Throughout the scriptures, from Genesis 2 or 3, when Adam and Eve made their decision, all the way through Revelation, those who do it themselves usually end up in trouble. Those who consult and listen, or at least consider the Lord, has a much better shot at coming out on a positive end. Oh, well, I'm smart enough. I'm wise enough. I'm strong. No, you're not. You are subject to every whim and whistle that comes along. Most of the time, you don't even know it. Don't underestimate the power of this physicalness we call male or female. Don't underestimate that. Because when you do, you will be sorely disappointed. First of all, in yourself. I can't believe I let him do that. I can't believe I said that. She just did that to me. I can't believe that. Secondly, in one another. And thirdly, in life in general. How do we deal with this, God? Well, that's why we have the Song of Solomon. You're going to see this relationship over the next 5 weeks not just progress, but grow. And you're going to see the Lord introduced into it. And you're going to see a new power and a new strength. And you're going to see two people come to the point where they learn who they are and how to control themselves and make wise and beneficial decisions to not just themselves but to one another. If you stick with me for the next 5 weeks. It's a powerful book. It's the wisdom of God. It's the mind of our Lord, who made us male and female. Distinct, unique, and oh so dangerous if left uncontrolled. All right? Song of Solomon. See you next week.